welcome to my next batch of altered cards. I've done, a little less than a dozen since then, and I don't have every single card in this binder, unfortunately, because I've been doing some commissions lately, so I've been sending them off. However, I'm going to flip to where I was in the binder and show you my new ones, and I also have footage of the cards that I did send off. I'll cut to that after, and it may not line as well up with my hand movements and everything, but you'll still get to see those cards. Let's get into it. These are our older pages. I think there's going to be a few pages here, and then I think the next page we'll start with the new stuff. Nope, one more of these. And my first video I went through all these cards. Oh, another page. I keep forgetting how many I've done. Alright, here are the new cards. So I'm going to take them out one at a time and just chat about them real quick. Hopefully I don't yap too long though. In order to make the lighting appear a lot better, I'm going to take the binder out of the way and zoom in a bit with the camera. This is Necrotic Ooze. This was a recent altar that I've done on commission. I was really grateful because they picked just a great card, this Necrotic Ooze. In my previous videos I mentioned that I love these wispy yellow, wispy greens of all the Necrogen mist on Mirrodin. And here we are back at Mirrodin, and we've got this Necrotic Ooze. I did a few revisions of this one. I tried to go with like a rusty effect on the text box at first, but was really overwhelming the rest of the view of the card. So we ended up peeling off that rusty effect that I made and going with more of a acidic effect, kind of eating through the card here and here. This card is post-varnish, so a lot of these blacks are really melding together. Before the varnish, you can tell the original glossy card blacks and then the added blacks, but now that's been varnished, it all adds together. I had this kind of skeleton arm here, extended the leg bones that are being eaten away, and this was just a really fun altar. I really appreciate being able to work on this one. And I was going to add another appendage over here, but I love the sight line that's happening. It's forming kind of like that triangle that pulls the eye up into the main art. And I think if I added an arm or something over here, it would have detracted from that sight line. And I really like it when I can make the eye flow into the original art. It feels more like a collaboration with the original artist. Lightning Helix. So this was a fun card to do. I was doing a lot of commissions which take a lot more time than my usual altars. So I needed to get something to upload because I upload shorts every 2 days. This one is just a lot of yellows, a lot of, this pinkish reddish color, and I thought I could do it pretty quickly. And I ended up doing this in one sitting. Now this card isn't perfect. There is some noticeable border left here, and that's always been my thing with these yellow and red heavy cards, is that the pigment of the yellow and red paint doesn't cover as strongly as like a blue or a green pigment. The borders are very, very faint, and when this card is in play and when it's in your hand, you don't notice them at all. I really love the art of this Lightning Helix, and this card is just so quintessentially Boros that it really reflects what it does. That's my Lightning Helix. Okay, this one's kind of a fun one. This is Village Rites, and I've altered it to be Krampus in the middle here. I'm part of a Discord full of altarists, and every month there's kind of like a monthly challenge that we do just for fun. Last month's challenge was Krampus. I put him in front of kind of like this big throne. This looked more like a B, the rune that was up here on the deer skull. I changed that to a K for Krampus. Originally, I was trying to put like a cloved foot in here, but it just wasn't looking right, so I ended up just going with kind of the trim on this Santa-esque cloak. I put kind of a mountain of coal underneath him and kind of gave it some rim lighting, and then just all this fire and extended these antlers. And I really like the work that I did on these antlers too. It's just a funny card. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic of the rest of my deck, but it's just funny and I like it a lot. This is Marabonar. This is another card in my Tormod Rograk deck. It basically makes every black spell you cast into a free 2/2 zombie with this tap effect. But we're here to talk about the art. This was really fun with all these wavy kind of watery lines, and I got a lot of the colors really super close. There are a few spots where my coloring was a bit off. I really liked all the textures, all the stuff that's going on with this card. It made it very interesting to continue this art. I added a bunch of tree branches and, I'm a little thick on these branch lines. It was kind of difficult because I have to do really faint highlights or else the card is so black that these branches over in this part of it would barely appear at all. I had some more branches to blend in with the original art, and I extended all these wavery lines. This one is post varnish, so in the original short, it stuck out a little bit more along this edge, and here it's blended a lot with that varnish on, and it looks really good. So I'm very happy with this card. And we're going back to Lorwyn right away, so it's on theme. This is Callaphe, Beloved of the Sea. This was a really fun altar. These painterly skies, I was dreading them a little bit. I didn't know exactly what techniques I would use to get this effect, but I managed to get it, and I can't even see really any edge work. This is another card, post varnish. Here we've got a bit of a different coloration, but it's also, we've got this very bright spot in the sky here, so it makes sense that this portion of the sky would be brighter as well. We've got this texture on this fabric. It looks really nice here. I was a little heavier on the texture on here because it is in the foreground more, so it would have more of a solid looking texture, even if it's a bit like ephemeral and enchanted. I added these stars, and I even kind of took Callaphe's leg here and turned those into the constellation effects. Like I said in my previous video, anytime I do this line in here, between the creature text box and the text box, the rules text, I think it always looks good whenever you add this line. The boat, originally I showed the client my work on the boat, and I was a little insecure, but I knew it was just one of those things that with the varnish on, it would fade together, and it has faded together really well. The boat definitely looks like the original here. The water effect splashing, I'm really happy with that, and the perspective of this boat is kind of strange. Originally we were discussing possibly doing a full art, but so much of this card would just be this boat. The client originally was wondering about maybe we fill the boat up with like icons or something, and I just think it would be difficult to match the art style of the rest of the card with cutesy style stuff. I really like the way we ended up taking it. It really looks like it's just working with the original art style of the card, and that's what I like to do with my altars. I don't make many like anime altars or altars of other IP. I find Magic cards I'm inspired by, and I just try to take them a little bit further and pay homage to the original artist, and I think I did a great job with this Callaphe. Chasm Skulker. Alright, this was originally going to just be a extended art altar, leaving the text box. But the thing about Chasm Skulker here is the art is so dark. There's a lot of darkness going on that the extension was basically going to be fading to a lot more darkness, so I knew I wanted to add more of a light source in here and brighten the card up a little bit, because the original Chasm Skulker art, it's just so dark. I wanted to keep the vibe, I wanted to keep, this menacing thing, and I added this Mystic Remora. I took kind of like the inspiration from the emblematic head of Mystic Remora, and I add this fish, and he's kind of darting into this lighted area, right? So we've got some light coming from that, and it brightens up the card a lot, and it gives it this strong sense of movement. And I added this big limb of this Chasm Skulker horror. It looked a little funny pre-varnish. It didn't look like it fit in some photos. It looks a little funny, but the actual card, it looks brilliant, and it fits right in with this horror. Really happy with all the work I did. It's really clean around the text box, around the 1/1. I said it's not going to look that great, just extended and fading to dark, so I had to go the extra mile, make it full art, and change it up so that the card was really something special for the new owner. Leonin Arbiter. This card, I knew it would look really good altered because we've got this strong kind of like purple, dark blue contrasting with the yellow. So blue and yellow are contrasting colors, which means they're basically on the opposite sides of the color wheel and always end up looking really good together, right? They have really stark color difference that really captures the eye. This purple color, it was hard to emulate purple is a color that's quite hard to mix if you don't have the right blue and the right red that will go together. I do think I need to pick up just a bit of purple. I usually work with a limited palette of about 5 or 6 colors. I try to mix from primaries as much as possible, but some of the purples, it's really difficult to hit the exact tones without a dedicated purple. Some of my thin lines struggled a little bit in here, especially when I was working with this light yellow pigment. If, I go a little bit over, it's really hard to cover it back up with lots of layers of yellow to strip it back. A little bit messy on these kind of like wires or tendrils that are coming out of this throne, but I still like the effect and it still looks good. Over here, I add in, a couple fingers on the edge. Those blended in pretty good. And we faded to dark in here because I didn't want to distract the eyes from kind of this angle here. I want the eyes to, start wherever along this edge and get pulled into our main subject, the Leonin Arbiter. And I think adding in the rest of this throne, really framing him, really helps draw the eye into here around the name text as well. This is probably one of my tightest work around the name text. I really like that. Otherwise, I really like this card and it was fun to work with. This is my most recent altar. This is Boros Reckoner. I just had fun with this one. I don't know what it is, but whenever I want to just do a quick altar, I keep getting brought back to these Boros cards. I see a lot of red and white and, lightning bolts and stuff, and I know the subject art is interesting, and whenever I see these backgrounds that are kind of like fading a little bit into black, a white card or a red and white card, it's going to change the card so much from the red and white border to having a lot of black framing. It changes it so much here. Just like my Ghastly Demise, this is a black card that's been changed to have a lot of white in the border, and it completely changes the look of the card. The same thing is happening when you go from like the Boros red and white border to this black border. I was going for an effect that I've never really tried before. I want to make it look like how lightning would be attracted to metal, that this golden set symbol was like attracting the lightning, but it looks more like I've made almost like a little loop. I would have redone that if I had a bit more time. This was something I was just doing for myself, and I just sat down. I wanted to do it in one session, which I managed accomplishing for a commission. I would have definitely tried to really achieve the effect I was going for here. I did the little split in the text box, and as always, that looks really good. The sword came together pretty quickly, and it looks nice, and I like all the lightning effects I added. This was a really fun card to alter, and it was just a really good one to sit down and do in one sitting, one and done. Here's Sprout Swarm. This was another commission, and I had this in my stack of cards I want to alter for a while. It's just I was a bit intimidated. I don't know. I didn't really have a plan. Luckily, a viewer decided that, hey, I want this card and I want to commission it. So I set out and I made it happen. I really like the background of this card. Chippy nailed it out of the park. It looks so simple, so easy, right? With just these couple tones, but it's actually really difficult to kind of match that effect. I had a bit of a lighter foreground here, as you can see with these grasses. I had it in here a bit more too, but it ended up making these sapperlings pop a lot less. So I ended up darkening this foreground a lot closer to these sapperlings to make them pop a lot more. I shaded around these eggs to give them more depth, more shape, and then I added this sapling in the front that's kind of trying to straddle his way across this gap, right? We've got this more venturous sapling jumping off, and then this one's just trying to straddle it. Originally, I forgot to put in the 6 leg. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I've kind of snuck it in between the text here when I realized near the end of the card that I forgot to give him another leg. Here you can see I left the convoke, the buyback, and the main text of the card, and I also left the artist's signature. This was upon request from the individual that commissioned me, and they wanted me to sign it as well. And the only way I'm really interested in signing cards is if I can keep the original artist name on the card as well, because it's not truly all my artwork, probably not even half of it is. And then when it comes to the inspiration, 100% of the inspiration is the original artist. This is basically the unveiling of my little signature. It has the crenellation of like a castle, and then just a little BA. These artists inspire me so much, and I don't do so much original art. I take the artist vision and I just try to work with it and have the eyes follow where the artist have your eyes follow, right? We've got kind of a triangle here that's still leading to this sapling, right? I've got this one in the foreground, but I'm not trying to make this one overshadow the original art. I'm just trying to add to it and keep those sight lines where they were going originally. This is the last card that I have to show you physically here and now. This is Korlash, Heir to the Blackblade. And this one goes into like my flub bin. I did not upload a short of this. I don't plan on doing it. I do have the footage, but I'm not really interested in showing it. I really like the work I did in the top half of the card. I think I matched these mountains decently enough. The clouds, they look really good. Just the bottom. So this card fades to black so clearly in the art. I really didn't have much of a choice, and I tried to add kind of like this mountain of like skulls or demonic faces, almost like it was in Berserk or something, and that went kind of okay, but it fades to black so clearly here. I had difficulty adding in the rest of the tabard or whatever armor this is, and I just think the balance of the card is off. I'm not really happy with it, but I really want to work with this future sight frame, and I'm glad I gave it a try. I like this floating mana cost here in this part of the frame. This part is okay too, but I think in the future with future sight frames, I think it just looked better with the text box, even when I'm not considering how the art flows, because it just looks like so empty, this whole area, even with additional art. Like I said, this is one of my flubs. I still like the idea and the concept. There is potential I could go back and fix some of these areas, but I just don't like how the art flows with the rest of the card. It's like I'm detracting from the original image, and I never want to do that. The rest of my cards I have footage of. They were commissions, so I've already sent them off. I will do a voiceover of that footage. I'm not sure if, my hand gestures and what I'm pointing at may not line up, but I have a few other cards to show off as well. Okay, so this is my Spelunking. This was a commission. This whole next 3 cards was a commission. And originally, I wasn't sure about Spelunking because the card art was so dark, almost like the Chasm Skulker I talked about before. I added kind of some lantern light and a bit of light of more plants kind of trickling in from the ceiling. I ended up adding an Amulet of Vigor, the Ixalan printing in the bottom left of the card there. Well, I asked the client if there was any artifacts in the deck that this character could be spelunking for, and the client told me that they play Amulet of Vigor and it really turns on a lot of effects in the deck. So I want to sneak that into the bottom left corner. I just really like the way this card turned out. It's extremely clean. All the lines are very clean on this art. And I like the effect I did with the rope going over the nameplate there. It looks good. Next card up, we have Crystal Vein. This was a fun card to alter because it all comes down to like the lighting effects and the textures of these crystals. I really liked working with the crystals in the back. They had just a really cool effect. They were crackling apart, and they've got these really light touches of pinks and really light touches of blues as well. The crystals in the foreground were really fun. I blocked those off, all kind of sketched them out with paint and underpainted them a bit, and really got the shapes that I wanted, and I slowly darkened them up and put some kind of like hard edges on them. Since they're in the foreground, they should have, a bit more detail to them than some of the further up crystals. This was a really fun one. Alright, lastly in this batch, we have Hickory Woodlot. This was a really fun card to do as well. I got to play in that kind of like bluish, greenish mist that I like playing with. The trees in the background were pretty fun, the way they kind of vanish away, making the text float. We did the name text, the type text, the land in the left there, and also the set symbol. And the set symbol I got crazy close to, and I love the old kind of text box of these lands. That green text box, I think it looks really nice. I was happy to leave that as well. The blending of this card was really fun to do, and I really just enjoyed this commission. All 3 of these cards that were selected by the client were just a great fit for my style and what I wanted to do, and the collaboration went really smoothly. This was a local client as well, so it was really nice to work with someone local and know that I might go to a game shop and just see the cards being played somewhere. It's really cool. The next card is Kefka Court Mage. This is a double-sided card, so this was really fun and posed some extra challenges to do. The client wanted nameplate to kind of stick out a little bit, so I left just a little black rim all along the legendary nameplate it has, and I add these feathers or hair, I believe it's feathers, to expand over the text box. This is going to be played in casual commander, so we've got no problems there. And we extended the cloak. That was really fun. The way it fades into the blue, and there's actually a lot of green in what you might expect to be a yellow on that cloak there. That's the one on the right. The one on the front left is just a lot of orange and yellow, and we did kind of a drop shadow on that and on the hand holding the cloak as well. I had to do a few revisions. Drop shadows is something I'm still working on. I've seen some other altruists use some different strategies that I want to try out. It's just I need to pick up some additional products to make that happen. All the clouds and stuff, this is where I'm like in my wheelhouse. It's just adding some, texturized clouds and having fun with it. That went really well. And then on the back half, we've got Kefka, Ruler of Ruin. Once again, we left kind of like a black outline around the nameplate there. And once again, we put the feathers and the hair up above the nameplate just to kind of really push the character out from the background. And it helped a lot. Once I did that, the character really came to life. I ended up expanding on those wings and going into the really bright pink. I took inspiration from the extended art version that was printed of this card, but then I went just crazy with it with that big exploding text box that Kefka is making this blast, and he's just destroying the text box, and debris from it are floating all around. I had a bunch more of these feathers falling down from the wings, and kind of a pastel-y background that was like really fun, and it fit in with the rest of this art of the card. It's got this like demonic, heavy contrast parts of the card, but it also has this like really angelic, pastel-y light colors to it as well. Very interesting card and a very fun altar.